Broadcast is live.
It's that time, my friend. It's that time again. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to share out a couple places, but this is my Nerd Swag TV, and I am Pastor Terry Cuthbertson, the Nerd Pastor, and my faithful colleague,
James Hostler, author, creator of the Bobcat, 1898 Indian Territory.
That's hilarious. That delay sometimes kills us, doesn't it?
It does, but that's
right. Hilarious. Well, today we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna talk about crossovers, and as we get started, let's share this out. Anyone that's watching right now, if you would go ahead and share this out. Oops, look at there. If you would go ahead and share this out, write a little post, promote us, help us out. But while you're sharing, start a watch party, man. Let's get some people in on this. We need some conversation. If you give us conversation, we're going to add you on the screen, and that'll be epic. One of the things I would say, too, so here's what the question I'd ask everyone real quick as we go into this. How much are crossovers just a cash grab? Are crossovers a cash grab or just a fun time for people to enjoy, like to really ignite fandom together? You know what I mean? What do you think? Is it really just something to do to be a fan pleaser, or do you think it's a kind of a cash grab, or is it both?
I think it is both, and I think it promotes the characters on both sides. So someone that reads X-Men normally might pick up Teen Titans and all of a sudden become involved in that. So DC's got them now too.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. The bottom line is the ones, and I don't know how many are out there, but any of those lacking with art and story and creativity, that's just a cash grab. But the first couple that we're going to talk about, to me, were excellent books. And I've enjoyed them. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if we're just being honest, comics have to make money to stay alive.
That's right.
So anything you can do to ignite fans to get more excited, even if it is kind of I think the key to it is, I don't think it's as much, and I say that as a joke, the whole cash grab, because that's what everyone always accuses.
Sure.
A lot of these things, it's just cash grabs. I honestly, I think you're right. I mean, maybe some of these are, but a lot of times I think it's just an opportunity to try and, like you said, get crossover between the two, bring some popularity, even just add new stories to a realm that's already been told,
Right.
So yeah, whether or not it's a cash grab or not, I don't know. But I would say, to me, if you do it right, and if you do good storyline, then you're not robbing anyone. You're actually doing everyone a huge favor, right? You're doing something pretty exciting. So I think so. I don't know which way we'd go on that, whether it's a cash grab and maybe it's somewhere in between, or just a chance to let nerds geek out, So,
yep.
But and I don't think any of them are wrong, man. If you need to make money to keep your comic book alive, then make money. No one's judging you on that, So make your money. So but put that in there. In fact, while we're talking, anyone want to share if you think of some really cool crossovers? And the kind of crossovers we're talking about is not. It's between different publishers, right? So we're talking Marvel DC, we're talking Image DC, or Dark Horse DC, which is kind of the same, but it's one of those kind of things. So if you have a crossover that you think is a cool one we should talk about while we go on this, or just mention, throw it in the comments with us and we'll talk about it. So, all right. So you actually brought a couple with you that are your crossovers. Do you want to just start there? Even though it's not the first crossover, still kind of cool. Your collection. Yeah.
Let me build it up a little bit. The first crossover was 1976, and
Wow.
I guess I was 12.
Yeah.
And it was greatly anticipated, and just like you said, geeking out. We were going bananas about it. It was yak yak yak, Superman, Spider-Man every day at school, elementary school, and couldn't wait to get it. And I know you've got an image there you can put up, but I'll show you this. There it is. There's the one I bought in 1976.
Nice. Wow.
Superman, Spider-Man.
Have that on you, man. That's epic. Yeah.
The art is great. The story is okay. It's a good story. It's not one of those cutting edge,
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's very mild by today's standards, but it isn't a junk story either. And they really played up the poses and the certain panels and pinup shots where really cool stuff was happening, and they really the content is really good. As you can see, look at the cover. I would go back and look at this book over and over and over again and just study the way they did the art. And you can see it's Neil Adams-ish, the art on the cover of that. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. 1976, the first one. And the inside of the cover, there's Carmine Infantino was the editor-in-chief at DC at the time, and then of course Stan Lee. And so when you flip the cover open, it's like black and white, but it's got photos of each of them, and they give a little commentary. And it's just an interesting read. And I was just confirming, today, because I knew we were going to do this, I was confirming to myself, yeah, this was the first one. I know it was, but inside the cover, Stan is like, here, we finally did it the first time. It's really awesome. So.
And what year was this? What year was this again?
Infantino and Stan Lee, before Marvel and before DC for Carmine, they worked together on other stuff. And Carmine did the art, and Stan wrote the story. It was before they, which is, and I didn't know that until I read that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Is it a larger book, or is it like 32 page, 36 page?
Oh yeah. Look at.
Oh, nice. And it's an oversized book too, huh?
Oh, it's a treasury edition. Basically.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah. It's a huge book.
Wow. Yeah. Well, explains the $2 price on a 60 book. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. $2 in 76. That was an expensive book.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But yeah, it's a big sucker, and it's like Life magazine size. And so they'll have treasury editions for DC. Basically, it's what they called it, and then treasury / special edition Marvel. It's not a crossover, so I didn't get it out, but I've got the Star Wars one, the crossover Marvel Whitman.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
It's a big book, so we'll look at that. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah. That'd be a cool one to talk about.
Yeah. So this is my first taste of crossovers.
Now, this next one, is this one you actually have?
I do.
Nice.
There
you have it. Great. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bought it off the rack in '82.
Okay.
And see, I kind of forgot when I got it because I hadn't looked at it in a long time. And, I was thinking, okay, I know when this is. It's probably early 91, 92. No, it's 82. Wow. I bought it after I graduated from high school. I think that summer before I went to Oklahoma State. Yeah. And my first semester there. And this is a good book. Yeah. They've got wonderful characters in there. You got, Darkseid, Metron, and Metron is that character that floats around in a chair like Professor Xavier does. Yeah. Metron is it too. Only he has a little different chair. And Metron, what's interesting about using him in this story, because he was crossover, I guess, like New Gods, Forever People, that whole fourth world thing that Jack created.
Yeah.
Anyway, he will go back and forth where he will defend and support the good guys, like the Forever People, New Gods, the good side of it, and then other times he goes back with Darkseid.
Wow.
And, that's so cool, man. So that's kind of what's going on in the book, and I'm not going to give it away, but it's very exciting. And so the big evil force, of course, as you can see on the cover,
is that
of the
Phoenix?
book, Dark Phoenix. Yeah. And
cool.
So she Darkseid is trying to harness her power and use her to get to this particular realm.
Yeah.
And it's a realm where other gods and great beings and entities tried to get into this realm, and they failed, and it cost them their lives, basically. Cost them everything.
Yeah.
And so that's where it goes from there. And then he wants to kidnap the X-Men, but when they go into the school or the place where the X-Men are, the Teen Titans happen to be there because they were trying to track Phoenix, because Phoenix showed up, and it was all you just got to read the story. But they went looking for Dark Phoenix because the alien girl, Coriander, I think is how you say her name. The one, she's like on the bottom right, the Teen Titan down there with the big hair.
Okay, that's not Starfire.
Yeah. I guess her name is Coriander. Anyhow, so they tracked her there to her energy signature or whatever. They found her where she was at, and Professor Xavier was there, but everyone else was gone. So these minions of Darkseid show up with all this special weaponry and everything, and subdue all the Titans, thinking that they're getting the X-Men.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's way more to it. It is a very well written story, in my opinion. I think the art is really good. You know, I mean, the guy is talented that does the art. Period. He can draw, but they also construct these really magnificent views and pinup shots and panoramic scenes that really make it effective. So I really like this book.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about both these comics right here is once they get to a certain point where they stop just working together on a book, and they actually start doing, like, they'll do two at a time. So like there's the Punisher Batman and then Batman Punisher. They're both crossover books, but one time it's Marvel taking the lead, and the other time it's DC taking the lead. And the DC one was not great.
Really?
Well, it was Ezra. It was the souped up Batman, with
the big suit,
like the purple or the bluish one where he's not afraid to murder people, and then in the second one, it's original Batman, Joker's the main character in it, and they're hiding. It takes off on it still kind of focuses on the first one, but it kind of ignores the first one because they're not dealing with the Ezra Batman or whatever, the souped up Batman. They're back to original Batman, but they're still looking for the original mobster that is the Punisher's bad guy. I think his name is like, I don't know, Patch Face, or I don't know. Like he was a good looking guy, and then Punisher did him in and messed up his face, and then he has scars. So it's like, I don't know. It's like I can't remember his name, but anyways, that's the crossover on that. But once Marvel gets a hold of it, the guy that does it, he's just like, yeah, let's just pretend that part of the story doesn't happen. So, but and that's what that's what really you start happening from now on is a lot of the crossovers. It's less working together, except for DC Dark Horse. But that I think they're kind of a Dark Horse, kind of a sister company to DC, isn't it?
Maybe nowadays.
Okay.
There's so many mergers and acquisitions. I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Because Dynamite was part of either DC or Marvel. Dynamite was a what they called kind of an indie label. Yeah. And Boom. There's Boom and Dynamite. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember which one applies to who. We should know that, but I don't.
Oh, well. Well, yeah. I was going to say, one of the best crossovers that I think top down, I mean, just one of the best crossovers, just great storyline. It's really epic. It's the Batman versus Predator. The very first, there's three of them, but the very first one is one of the coolest storylines. It handles Predator really well. The Batman part of it's really great. I mean, and the art is amazing. It's just a great comic book. So one of my favorite, but on that one, they actually work together in stories because they don't do Predator versus Batman, Batman versus Predator like they do with DC Marvel. They kind of team it up. So, but yeah, and so that's the next two that we have is really that too. That you've got on there. That's another one of those examples of that, right? Where it's Batman Daredevil and then Daredevil Batman. Because he takes the lead time and then Marvel takes the lead.
Right. And you see the one which says Batman first. Yeah. He's listed first, so it's a DC.
Yeah.
DC is on the left, they're first, and then Marvel is second. And that awesome cover.
Yeah. That's
nice
dope.
cover.
Yeah.
And I've just glanced at these. I have not read them through like I should.
Yeah.
Now here's Marvel's deal. And you know what? That cover is fine, but I like the other cover better, to tell you the truth.
It's stylized. That really fits in with the Batman stylization too, though.
Yeah, and of course Daredevil does the same kind of thing, coming off the rooftops and that's why they're in there together. So I think that epitomizes more of what they are. And there's nothing wrong with this one, but it just doesn't feel like this. This is okay, but the other one, where they're on the rooftops looking down, whatever, it looks like you would want to frame it and put it on the wall.
Oh yeah, no, that one's
great.
What I mean? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so
that's epic.
Yep, I love
that, man. Yeah.
I need to finish. We'll update on this thing later when I get these books read. I just glanced at them.
And I think even before these came out, I could be wrong. Well, I'm pretty sure on this one. I think before these came out was the that's awesome. Hold those up again. Hold those up.
Okay.
Let's get you.
I get them at the right angle, so I'm not.
Let's get you framed in there. Oh, getting glare. Getting the there it is. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool, man. So one of the reasons I brought up crossovers was one of the most epic crossovers, in my opinion. Now, I was born 1980, so I'm a child of the 80s. I'm a comic book collector of the 90s, so I have a ton of worthless comic books. But crazy stuff happened in the 90s. Like some of the most ridiculous stuff happened in the 90s is notorious for some of this random wild stuff that went down. And one of those things was the actual crossover where all of Marvel and all of DC go to battle. And so I was going to pull this up real quick to show you this. So this is DC versus Marvel. And let me zoom in on this, man, so you can see everyone in this, because this has everyone. So you got Lobo, you got Wolverine, Storm, all the X-Men are in this. You got Aquaman and Nimoy. You got Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. You got Superman, you got Hulk, Superboy, Spider-Man. It's and Batman, of course. And they even put Ghost Rider in this. And so what's interesting about this is, so this was number one, and this was kind of the beginning of this whole epic showdown that they were trying to do. So they actually do 4 of these. So the first time was DC, and then Marvel gets Marvel has 2 and 3, I believe, or maybe they had 3 and 4. But really, the storyline behind this was that these 2 galactic brothers, which are the embodiment of DC and Marvel, do not like each other. And rather than getting into continuing their internal fight that will never end, they decide that they're going to pick out their champions and have their champions fight each other to figure out which universe is the better universe. All right. Now, one of the cool things that happened with this at this time is you could actually vote on the outcome of the battles.
Right.
So they would let you vote. They would pair people together. And out of that came one of the most controversial decisions ever made. There is a battle between Wolverine and Storm and Wonder Woman and I'm trying to think of who else was in that one. Wonder Woman and good grief, it just slipped my mind.
Wolverine and Storm, so he's fighting his another X-Men?
No, that's Marvel's champions. Marvel picks Marvel brother picks Wolverine and Storm and pins them against. I need to look this up. Hold on, I have it down here. But pins them up again.
Lobo fights Wolverine, doesn't he?
Maybe that was maybe it was Lobo and and
I've got this book somewhere that I've hidden from myself, and
you've hidden from yourself. Okay, it is. So it's Storm versus Wolverine, or Storm versus Wonder Woman, and Wolverine versus Lobo. Yeah. Which, by the way, neither one of these seem like fair pair-ups, right? Wonder Woman is immortal. I don't understand how this is going to go down. Storm controls elements.
Right.
But because it was fan voted on in the 90s, when people my age at that point, because in the 90s, I was a preteen, we were going home and watching X-Men the animated series.
Right.
So we don't know who Lobo is, and and Wonder Woman was that 80s, that was 70s, man. So if you're asking the majority of the nerd population to vote who's going to win this battle, it's the ones who have their own animated series at the time, right? But it was like, I'm talking like, this was like a highly contested nerd feud for a very long time. And so
Wonder Woman would beat Storm ultimately, I would think, because she's just she's like a female Superman, basically.
Yeah. So even the dog's upset about that. He's like, what is going on? He doesn't agree with this either. So, okay, so one of the most interesting things so what happened is every time it would either be one would win, then the other one would win, and they just kept making it a tie. And finally it comes down to well, and part of this is, you've got the Spectrum in this, you've got the New Gods. I mean, you've got all these big time people in this, and they're realizing how big this is. What basically it comes down to is that the brothers come to an agreement that they're going to wipe out champions when both of them actually have great champions. And the decision is to combine champions together. They also invented a character just for this series. Let me see if he's in this picture right here. No, he's not. His name was Access. But he's stuck in between this. So what they decide to do is they build the amalgamated universe. They build this universe of crossovers. And so from that, we get some of the weirdest and wildest storylines in existence. And at this point, it's kind of fair to say this is a straight cash grab. A lot of these storylines, literally, okay, one of the crossovers they do is they combine Captain Marvel with Captain Marvel. I just like to think about that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I grabbed all of them, but so right here, this is a list of some of the most famous ones. So right here in the top, where you see Storm, Wonder Woman crossover, that's Amazon.
Right.
You have Nightcrawler and Green Goblin right here. You've got Dark Claw, which is the Batman Wolverine. Basically, if you add those two together, what you get is the most tragic backstory ever. Not only does his parents get murdered, but then he goes out to live with his uncle in Canada, and his uncle gets murdered by poachers, and he has to go live with nuns, ends up going into the Weapon X program. And his main bad guy that comes out of this is a character called Hyena, which is Joker, Sabretooth mixed together. So you also got, that should have been an awe moment. I should have found a picture of him.
It's cutting out. So when you're talking, it's cutting out a little bit. I hope it's not doing it for everyone else. It may just be doing it on my end.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah.
But
so you got Super Soldier, which is Captain America and Superman. Basically, the super serum is alien DNA that's pumped into Captain America. So that's the mixture of that. You've got Superboy. Remember that kid?
Yep.
Mixed with Spider-Man.
Is that Robin and Spider-Man?
No, Superboy and Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
So it's Spider-Boy.
Spider-Boy.
The other terrible one is, you see that up there? That is Dr. Doom and Doomsday. So it's Dr. Doomsday.
Dr. Doomsday, there you go. Yeah. And then, of course, in the middle, you've got Dr. Fate and Dr. Strange, which is, I think, a really cool combo. Dr. Fate was way before Dr. Strange ever showed up.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think I've always thought Dr. Fate was a really cool character, in that helmet that he has, that kind of Spartan, old ancient Greece looking helmet kind of thing. I thought it was really cool.
So I just threw up a couple other. So basically, once Access kicks in, then he grants everyone this. So they build a new multiverse. Basically, I think it's 109, but it's the Amalgam, or I forgot. it's the amalgamated universe is what it is. And so from there, you start getting all these backstories and one-off stories. So I got to tell you, the one that I'm still looking for that I really want is this Lobo the Duck. And I do want Dark Claw #1 because those are both amazing. So if you see in the bottom corner here too, you have Speed Demon, which is Ghost Rider and the Flash. Speed Demon. So
wow. Very cool.
Kind of fun, And then and it just went off the rails, man. So one of the other ones is they mix Iron Man with Green Lantern. So it's the Iron Lantern. They take the X-Men and the Doom Patrol, which this is kind of one of those funny ones that they did, because with that, so and it becomes X Patrol. But a lot of people accuse X-Men of ripping off Doom Patrol, and there's a lot of similarities to that. Thor's mixed with Orion, so you get Thor Orion.
Orion, I like
Orion, and the other funny one is, and I didn't get a picture of this, but they did a Jonah Hex, and you remember that the series that came after X-Men, which was called Generation X.
Okay.
So it's Generation Hex, and it's this one right here.
Yeah.
So it's the Generation X mutants plus Jonah Hex. They did another cool one right here, the Assassins. That's a mixture. Both of them are mixtures of Elektra and Catwoman. Right here, Assassins. So, to me, some of these are just silly. And I'll tell you the other thing they did a lot is they threw Batman in a lot of things. You've got Bruce Wayne mixed with Nick Fury. So it's Bruce Wayne, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then you've also got Bat Thing, which is the Man-Thing and Batman mixed together. And you have Dark Claw. I mean, anything Batman, they did mixture on a lot.
Bat Thing is cool, but here's what was the obvious, what would have been the obvious amalgam there? It would have been Swamp Thing and Man-Thing. But then what do you call it? Swamp Man? Or you know what I mean? Because they both have thing at the end, but that would have been the ultimate amalgam there.
Yeah, I think, and I'd say it would be too on the nose, but they put Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel together, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about Captain Marvel for a minute. The original Captain Marvel, before it was released right after Superman, and it was owned by Fawcett. I think Fawcett.
Okay.
Right. And so I believe that National Periodical, the company that owned DC Comics, I think they sued them because Captain Marvel was so much like Superman, and I guess they proved their point because he had a cape and da-da-da-da-da. And so at some point, Fawcett quit producing it, and I guess the actual rights to it fell to DC, but they didn't do anything with it, Captain Marvel, until like 1970 or whenever it was when they Shazam, and someone can correct me on that. I'd like to be corrected if that's the case, but I think they just kind of killed it and nuked Captain Marvel once they won the deal, the case, saying that they would have a non-Marvel Superman, and then they brought him back just to liven things up. But so that's the original Captain Marvel was not even a DC character initially; it was a Fawcett character.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what do you think of this storyline? That instead of just coming up with a crossover, they came up with the two embodiments, celestial beings, to represent Marvel and DC, and then had those celestial beings pick their champions from their universes to fight, rather than just coming up with some sort of earth-shattering event that caused the two universes to mix together. What do you think about that? To me, kind of a clever idea, a little silly.
I think it is. Yeah. It's kind of like these great beings using with the superheroes and these super powerful beings. They're using them as pawns.
Yeah.
Because they're so great, they can say, it's like a chess game.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, let's play another game real quick. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
If you could mix two characters, who would you mix? I've been thinking about this all day.
Hang on one second.
You got the bird?
Yeah, the bird screaming. Hold on.
All right.
We're doing a podcast right now.
All right. So anyone watching right now, play along with us here. Give us a mixture that you would go with, a crossover mixture. So, and it doesn't, let's expand this too. Because here's the thing. That was at the 90s. So everyone they're trying to pick their most popular characters for that time. Although not all of them are that popular. They went with they did Nimoy and Aquaman.
Prince Namor.
Namor, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mixed their two Aqua guys basically together. So
right.
So I don't know.
I think that's the perfect idea. That's like what I was saying, like Swamp Thing and Man Thing, Swamp Man or whatever. And I think Namor and Aquaman was a perfect amalgam. Now, I don't know of a DC alternative for the Hulk, but I think the Hulk could be crossed over. I mean, it would be Marvel and Marvel, but you know, has there been a Hulk thing, Hulk? You know,
there's been a battle between them, but yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. You know what I would say with that is, okay, so Hulk would be fun to mix with just about anyone. I honestly, Hulk would be a fun mixture with anyone on the DC side, especially if you gave them the brute strength. So I would think, you know, what would be fun with Hulk would be we just lost him. What would be fun with Hulk would be mix him with someone who's like super genius and see what happens. Like right. So you know, what if you took the Hulk and we mixed him with? I'm just brainstorming right now because you brought up Hulk. I'm not creative apparently because I can't come up with a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things we could use. I'm trying to think myself because we didn't even talk about this thing exactly prior, so I didn't really prepare anything. Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be good for Hulk.
So, I would say
when I was a kid, of course, I bought Hulk like crazy. You know, that's why I ended up with 181 and you know. Yeah. But yeah, you know, a DC character. I'll think about it some more.
And next time we had to blend them over together. Just put them off in an epic battle would be a lot of fun. But the idea of blending them together, I think another cool crossover that would be fun is Venom because he's just so easy to cross over to anyone, you know. And every time you Venomize something, it always has that really stylized idea. So I think that'd be a really fun one to mix over. You know, the classics would be a Venom Batman, you know, where he's fighting that sense of I don't kill, we bring people to justice, and Venom's in his head going, we eat, you know, and that would be an interesting one.
Right.
So, and then you know, the crossover just, you know, characters like that would be great to bring over. There's been so many new characters brought up too that could be fun to play with. So, but yeah, I was just thinking about like if you could pick anyone to cross over. So all right. That was my thought. So anyways, we didn't have time to think about it. We probably should have thought about that before we started.
And I could have thought about it a little bit more. I've got action going on over here, so they got me distracted.
Well, that's okay. So that was really tonight. I just wanted to do that. I wanted to talk about this. One of the reasons I want to bring it up is I think they're fun reads, and it's one of those things like right now with not a lot of new comic books coming out. If you're looking for some back issues to get into, this would be a fun one to get into. It's not going to be it won't be that expensive to get into it. You know, Dark Claw will cost you a little bit. The Lobo the Duck's a little, you know, you're talking $10, $15 book maybe. If you
that's not bad. Right.
But most of them, you're going to find them randomly in the dollar section because they weren't that popular, but they're a fun idea. I bet you the crossovers aren't going to cost you more than $10, $15, but they'd be a fun read to get into. And so I love that. That's what I was bringing it up for. If you're looking for something new to get into, well, that would definitely be the way to go. So
right. Yeah, I totally agree.
So tell us what's going on the on your front with as we wrap up. Tell us what's going on with the Bobcat.
Yes, of course we're on issue 5. Have been basically we've been on issue 5 this entire year, and
Darn you, Corona.
Yeah, exactly. Corona kind of put the brakes on for, 3-4 months and stalled it out, but we were doing little tiny bits. But anyway, we're full steam right now. I'm literally just, as far as finishing it out, the very end of it, I kept going back and forth of what to do, and I'm just a page or two away from writing out the very last of issue 5 before we go to the next chapter. And as far as the art goes and the pages being complete, it is somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4. So
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I got to go back and count and see, because we did a lot of pages out of order.
Yeah.
Because I had it written, and I went back through when it was time to start doing promotional things, and I picked certain pages and scenes and topics to go ahead and develop first, and then we came back after the fact, and I pieced a bunch of the things together. I actually had like 3 sequences that we did as a sequence, but I wasn't sure where it was going to appear in the story yet. So we did the sequences and had them sitting there, and as I went through the story, then I matched them up,
Wow.
where they would
Cool.
be.
Yeah.
People do it in all kinds of different ways, and I didn't really do that before in all the other books, but I did it on this one because I had some very distinct ideas of what I wanted to happen in this. So I just went with that portion of the story, and then as I went through completing the book and making the continuity on the writing, I tied them in what I thought were the appropriate places, and I think they work really well.
Nice. Yeah.
So we've got. Go ahead.
Well, when does that launch?
Well, we're trying to get it to the printer before October is out. I mean,
nice.
September we're at the 20th now of September. Yeah. So, it's not going to be, the art's not going to be finished by the end of September, but I'm hoping I can get it to the publisher, Actually, the publisher won't get it until it's 3 books and it's volume 2, but the printer, we're going to use a different printer this time, I believe. They gave me a name. I've got to go back and look it up. That does a lot of Scout Comics printing, and I think we're going to use them because they do different paper weights.
Yeah.
Thickness and the heaviness of the paper. And the one I've been using wants to use the heavy weights and then the extra heavy weight for the cover. And they're like, this is what we do, this is about the only way we do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe the only way they do it, but it's not the only option. Opposite. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum of the newsprint, the newspaper pages. You know what I mean? And they're doing those again too, newsprint books. And so those sell for like $2. They're like $1.99, $1.50. Because the newsprint is so crazy and expensive. So I'm going to probably go with something like a 60-pound, I think they're calling it, for the basic pages. Yeah. And an 80 or 100 for the cover. Cool. So I'll just tell everybody that. It's not like it's a big secret or anything. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Something popped up on my screen. There it goes. Anyway, yeah. So hopefully we'll get the paper we want next time. We're going to have, the book is, not counting the cover, not counting the front cover, inside and outside, back cover, inside and outside. That's 4 pages.
Wow.
We've got bonus stuff that I haven't even finished assembling. And as of right now, just straight out writing, I've got 48 pages written. So you start adding all that up. This is going to be, you got to divide by 4. So is it 60 page? Yeah. That's where I think we're going to end up.
Wow.
So.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Well, that's amazing. And they can actually go out and support you on, the place. Where can they go support you?
Yeah. We've already done the Kickstarter. So it's there. And they've been waiting longer than the people on Indiegogo. And the Indiegogo campaign is still underway. It's going to be there for days. It's going to take you, it'll be going at the first part of October before it ends. So everyone's got plenty of time. I'm putting add-ons and really new cool things. We've got those die cut sticker mule Bobcat. I should have had them sitting here to show you. I put the pictures up before. we've got some coasters. We've got the decals that have the logo done by Sticker Mule. And I can send you, let me send you that while we're talking, and maybe you can put it up there.
Send me the link.
Oh, it's just a picture I took of a bunch of the decals and the coasters setting out. So we're adding those. They're add-ons, and they can go with whatever perk category. If you got just one book or a collection of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the trade paperback and a T-shirt, you can add these add-ons. You can put on anything. They're only a couple of bucks a piece. The die-cut stickers and coasters are just like $2, and they're cool.
I love it.
And so we've got more coming. We've got a holographic decal coming that's also die cut, and it's the actual Bobcat character himself, and he's got kind of the bluish sky background, sort of like the banner behind me over here. Different pose, it's like he's standing on the rocks looking down, a little Dark Knight-ish, a little bit. And so there's a cutout with in the holographic or hologram, however they say it. They call them holo car stickers. So
nice.
they're decals with lots of color. It's kind of foily looking. What I mean?
Yeah. I got you.
So that's the next thing we're adding, and I'm just we're adding new things constantly when we can, and investigating new ways to give stuff to the collectors. And give things to collect. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, this book is, issue 4 was great, and issue 5 is blowing that one out of the water. And so when we get to issue 6, it's going to be a real challenge, because issue 5 has been very difficult, because we go back and fix stuff. I'll write some things out and go back and alter it because it's not really happening the way I want it to. We're adjusting artwork because we're not getting, we look at it after the fact and go, there we go. There's some die cut Bobcat logo decals and vinyl decals, and some really cool coasters.
Well, cool, man.
So all that stuff is good. The Bobcat merch, you can't go wrong with that.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. So everybody be looking forward to issue 5, because when you get it finally, you're going to be really happy.
Yeah, and you can go on Indiegogo if you want to go ahead and support that. This, I just posted this up here, and I'll try to post it in the comments also, so that if you want to click that, you'll be able to get to it. There it is. Click it.
There it is.
Support it.
Excellent.
Support local and independent artists. And man, it's been a fun episode. I've really enjoyed this. I love the idea of crossovers, and we did not even come close to covering all the crossovers that there are. And it'd be fun maybe to break down one whole crossover, just really break it down, especially the Batman Predator one. Really just go into the storyline of what's going on with that. Unlike the Batman Superman versus Predator Aliens, which is totally hot garbage. I have them both, and it's just not that great. But if you have a crossover you think would be great that would be fun to be a part of, you'd like to watch or like to us explore or even show off, how about this? Post it in the comments. Let us know about it. Send us a message. Send us a picture. And we're going to go ahead and sign off for now. And James, tell everyone bye, man. Tell them where they can find you. And
see y'all soon. We've got a Facebook page, the Bobcat, thebobcat.net. is our Bobcat Mercantile. It's our homepage. And of course, I've got a Twitter account, my name, James Hostler. It's on the screen there, and a regular Facebook account. And you can get a hold of me that way too. And if there's anything that you need and you're not able to get through somewhere, whatever, you have a question or anything like that, reach out anytime, because there's so many ways to get a hold of me, instant messenger, etc. So. And
then you can find me on My Nerd Swag TV. You can find me on Instagram as the Nerd Pastor Swag, and just around everywhere. So we're signing off. Thanks everyone, and you guys have a great night. We'll see y'all.
Have a great one. See you guys.
Stay nerdy, friends.